All right, and up here in the top right is our Protoss player, who I'm going to introduce correctly this time and not call him an insect. He is...
EG Huck.
Sorry, Huck.
A lot of fans here for
cool.
Huck tonight.
Me and Chris are bros. He doesn't mind.
Is that so, man? Are you guys bros?
That's right. Down here in the bottom left, he is down a game in, I believe, his first major appearance in Code A. He is...
Bumblebee Prime.
I don't think he's been in Code A before.
I believe the only other appearance he made in solo was GSL Open Season 3.
Open Season 2.
Oh.
Very close, though. It's all right. I happen to have the stats page pulled up here.
You're like that quiz guy. You're like, I'm sorry.
Actually,
I'm very sorry, bud.
No. I believe that you meant Season 2. I'm like that guy who, you know, someone like just makes a slip of the tongue and accidentally says words switched around and they're like, oh, I think you meant this. It's like, well, of course I meant that. Why did you bother correcting me? We both knew it. Anyway, sorry.
Look at this.
He has been in the team league, though.
Huck Norris probe over here doing some serious rest.
Yeah.
This is what Huck is known for. Just going to that close patch and making it so the drone cannot mine there. Ooh, interesting gas time for Huck. Double gas after gate. I've been messing around with this a little bit because if you skip the Zealot, for example, you don't need that second pylon as quickly. Plus, even if you do get the Zealot, it's okay to get the double gas before if you're going to do a very gas-intensive build. I like this choice by Huck. We may see some DT play out of him. It's hard to say exactly what we're going to see, but Bumblebee is Overlord scouting. He's not drone scouting, so he's not going to have any idea about this.
Interesting. Oh, you know what? Actually, I was wrong, too. Terius Bumblebee was actually in Code A the very first season because he had enough points to get into the tiebreakers back then.
Oh, I remember those tiebreakers. Those were awesome. I loved watching those.
And he got knocked out in the very first round 2-0 by Squirtle, though, so that's why we don't remember much about him.
Well, you know, I always remember his name. I know he's played. I remember he did well, you know, okay in the past, and now that you mentioned it, I do remember watching him play against Squirtle.
I remember him playing in when we got to cast the Code A qualifiers a few seasons ago.
Yeah.
We casted some of his games too. He's a really solid Zerg player.
Huck, by the way, has a ton of chrono energy on his Nexus. He's going to use that to his advantage here. Now the question is, what is he going to be using his gas for here? It may just be a 3-gate sentry expand.
It looks like that, yeah.
And it's a very unique way of doing it where you get the double gas first. It means he's going to be able to get these sentries out faster. Sometimes with this, you can't make full production 3 sentries at a time from your gateways if you get the second gas a little bit later. There's like this one moment where you have to wait a second. In this case, he doesn't have to do that. Traps Zergling here. This is a unique build by Huck. I'm going to have to go back and study this a little bit because I haven't really worked out my timings for the fast double gas. I'm kind of curious as to how it really affects the opening here. And, you know, Bumblebee, his hatchery's finishing up here. He's got Zergling speed, as you guys just saw. Zergling start running a little bit faster than normal.
Indeed, and he's keeping that Zergling nearby for just this reason. Scouts that pylon, says, all right, well, this is what they do when they're going to go ahead and do a 3-gate expand. And sees a couple sentries at the top of that ramp. He has not spotted the probe on the low ground, so he doesn't see it in position to take that Nexus, but he's probably going to keep it around for that purpose.
He wants to know how many sentries there are, because sometimes even if you see a sentry, it could be a 1-base Dark Templar build, you know, or a later DT expander, even a Blink Stalker all in with just 1 sentry. So he wants to see, okay, there are 2, so it can't be fast Blink or anything like that. It's too much gas on the sentries. Spine's actually being added for Bumblebee here, as he's not 100% certain what Huck is up to and wants to be super safe about it.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting because, I mean, we've seen it in the past. I remember MC kind of pioneering it against Jolizerg, was it? The cancel of the Nexus?
Yes, the cancel Nexus 4-gate.
Killer
was a big proponent of that as well. 630 lair for Bumblebee, so he's probably going fast fire again. 3 gas is being added now at his main and at his natural, of course.
Yeah.
This pressure from Huck will likely be thwarted just by the 2 spines alone with a few Zerglings to support. Sentries do not do well against spine crawlers. It's like Goliaths against sunken colonies or something like that. It's just not what you want to watch.
I don't know if anything's quite as bad as Goliaths against sunken. No. Kidding. But yeah, no, you're right. It's those 2 spines are going to be more than enough, especially with some Zerglings there. Looks like Huck's going to try.
Oh man, Huck could force his way up the ramp though, then force field units out, but I don't think he's going to try that. It's too risky. He doesn't know what's up that ramp. He just doesn't know.
Yeah. And I think that's a wise move because the Zerglings were there and might have kept him on the ramp while the Spine Crawlers hit him.
Huck has not seen the gases either. He hasn't even gotten really a glimpse of what's going on. So this pressure move was a way for him to kind of gauge things. He's probably thinking, okay, I haven't seen any roaches with this. There was a small amount of Zerglings. It's probably fast layer tech, probably fast Spire again. This is a really common strategy right now in Korea. He starts to forage immediately at his natural. He's gone up to 5 gateways already.
And yeah, he's just actually been focusing on getting his economy up now. He hasn't been producing much more. He went out with those initial sentries and the Zealot. And now he's just been basically chilling, running around the middle of the map with his sentries, trying to catch Zerglings, I guess, which is a little bit dangerous.
This is a really good map for Mutalisk. Now, I'll mention why really quick. Of course, in the middle of the map, Mutalisk poke at units and then fly away very quickly. Like Colossi, for example, if that ever ends up becoming, you know, a unit that's out in the middle of the map, pick off those important units, pick off Zealots, even a small group of Stalkers. Then if the Stalkers blink forward, it's an awkward position because of all the ramps, so the Stalkers are kind of caught forward for Zerglings. Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Nice.
Oh, clutch warp in.
And also, another reason why Mutas are good on this map, oh, hold that thought, these sentries might run into their doom here. Scary position for those sentries to be into. And Huck now, after seeing all those spines, he definitely knows the Spire. There's a position at the back of Huck's base, the top right, where Mutas can kind of fly around, hit the main, the natural, and possibly his third base. That's why Mutas are so good on this map. That's why they're so popular, is you can harass 3 bases at once with those Mutas. 10 Mutas on the way, in fact, now for Bumblebee, as Huck, realizing what's going on, preparing pylons for cannons, getting that Twilight Council up.
Yeah, very nice choice there, and he's going to need to get home with his sentries because even though there is a solid amount of sentries there, without Stalker support, they could just get picked off by Mutas, and that would be a huge loss of investment. He's going to need those sentries for later on. Well, I guess he won't need them, but they're going to be super, super useful. He's spent a lot of money on them. They're going to be crucial if he's going to do a ground push later on.
Oh, man. The Mutalisk count's starting to get higher. One more Muta on the way will put him at 12. He's got +1 error. Huck does have Stalkers out, but only 5 of them. And he's got a cannon going up at his natural now, not at his main, though. 2 cannons, in fact, but they're going to have to be canceled here as he's going to lose some probes and perhaps the cannons as well. Cannon goes down without a cancel. Second cannon is canceled. A total of 8 workers lost, 10 workers lost, 13. Ouch.
That was a lot of workers lost.
That was.
Zealot's going to scout this base down here, going to get taken out by Zerglings, taking a few out with it, but does know that that third is going up,
and Bumblebee right now with a total of 6 Spine Crawlers. It's going to be hard to assault that position. Bumblebee also taking the 9 o'clock base here, so he's got 2 bases. I like this choice. One base or the other. Huck's going to have to pressure one of those 2, or if he decides to pressure, he'll have to choose between one of them. And either way, Bumblebee has a spare, essentially.
Exactly. He won't be able to kill both of them.
And they're both far away from each other. Uh-oh, going to lose a sentry here. Guardian Shield does go up. Really nice control by Bumblebee on his Mutas so far. Remember, though, like we said last game, Huck is really good at dealing with Mutalisk harassment. He plays those scrappy games like Hero. Hero and Huck are actually both 2 processors whose names start with H, but they're both pretty good at dealing with Mutas.
That's right. Must be something about having your name start with an H.
Nah, it must be something about years of practice.
Oh,
and, like,
well, I guess there's that, too.
Huck can see these rocks being destroyed right now, and that's going to mean an extra entrance to his base he's going to want to have to defend later.
Did Huck play Brood War before in StarCraft 2?
Yeah, he did play Brood War. He was not a top Brood War foreigner by any means, but he was a pretty decent Protoss player. Never had any notable results.
Yeah. Anyway, so we got some Zerglings and Mutas running into the main, and they're going to probably take out some probes. He's targeting down the cannon, though, so the Mutas can do more damage and more harassment later on. Gets a number of probes there. Nice trade.
See, this is a really good map for Mutas because there's so much space for the Mutas to escape, no matter which angle. The Mutas could have even escaped to the right, swung around the side, then hit the natural. It's just such a good map for Mutas, and that's why you see players like Terius here, they're just doing it. They're so comfortable with the Mutalisk play here. He's got 2 additional hatcheries up right now. He's droning up 62 drones to 46 probes, but Huck has 2 Archons out now. He's adding 2 gateways. It's looking like Huck is not planning on taking a 3rd base anytime soon. He's going to turtle on 2 bases to get a much stronger army beforehand, and that's a smart choice here, considering the Mutalisk count's getting a little bit out of control. He's not going to take a 3rd. The 3rd base on this map is too far away. It just cannot be done.
Yeah, it's dangerous because he's letting Bumblebee get 4 bases saturated, but it's all he can really do at this point. He's kind of pinned in his base until he gets something a little bit better to deal with it.
And this is why Bumblebee has chosen this map, Crossfire. It's a good map for Muse. It's a good map for Zerg against Protoss. It's a smart choice by Bumblebee. Huck blinking forward here to catch an Overlord.
Yeah, the loser does pick the map of the next map.
And look at this, Huck moving out with just 2 Archons and some Sentries, and that is going to deal with anything that Bumblebee can throw at it. It's going to be something that Bumblebee is not going to want to engage. He keeps his Stalkers at home. Actually, no, sending them out now, and the Muse are in the main. We may have another trade. Nice, targeting down the Cybernetics core first, which means no more Stalkers.
I don't think this is going to go as well for Huck.
I do
There's
not
a lot
think so.
of Banelings here. He's got Force Fields, but Huck is losing everything in his main right now.
The Spines as well, Moltrap, are going to really play a huge role here. We'll see how good his top 3 control is today.
He does pick off those Banelings. He's going for the bottom right base right now. I don't know if he even knows about the 9 o'clock base, though.
Oh, look at this. Going to trap the drones.
Oh, nice.
And actually sending his Stalkers home to help defend as he takes out the base at the bottom right. I really like this choice, Moltrap. He's losing a lot of probes, though, in the meantime. He's going to put him about half the workers of his opponent.
Yeah, and he's moving him in a way such that he's trying to catch them. Yeah, oh, this could be... Well, actually, he has 2 Archons with that ground army, so they're not terribly vulnerable.
Oh, the Mutas are going to get caught!
Oh, nice. He's going to blink and get a couple more. And maybe not, never mind.
Were you casting me that one time that Huck was on like 1 base with like 8 probes left, and it was against, there was like a 1 Broodlord and like 1 Infestor and a few Mutas out, and Huck was just playing after the trade? He's just so good at these types of situations.
Yeah.
Memories come back to me every time. And with the Archons out, Bumblebee does not want to engage this, and Huck has taken out the bottom right base. Remember though, like we were talking about earlier.
Oh no. Those are actually a little bit more clumped up than they need to be, but he caught a lot of Stalkers there. Oh, and he's just waiting for the... Wow, waiting... Burrowed for the Stalkers to move out of position, and then immediately goes back in. This is crazy. So Huck did not go for the full trade because there's 18 Spine Crawlers on the map.
It looks like Huck is now going to go for the 9 o'clock base, which, you know, we mentioned earlier with the 2 bases in the top left and the bottom right. If Huck gets one, the other one still remains alive, and that's what Huck's dealing with right now. There's so many Spines at both locations, it's hard for him to attack. Looks like the Nexus may go down in the main base. And yes, it will. Meanwhile, Huck attacks.
The Archon's soaking up a lot of Baneling hits, but the Spine Crawlers are too powerful behind that. He doesn't have enough to actually move in.
2 shields left on that one Archon with 13 kills. Huck manages to pull it back at the last second and save it.
Wow, this is hardcore. Huck is just barely holding on here, but he's not gaining ground, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's really not. The Archons may try to engage the Mutas here. Good force fields. Blocking out these Banelings temporarily here.
Nice splash damage, damaging a lot of those Mutas, but none of them die.
Yeah, that's the key. None of them died. Now Bumblebee at twice the supply of Huck. Huck with only 1 Nexus. He's desperately rebuilding his main Nexus, but he's mostly mined out at that location.
Yeah. Well, it's the only place he's safe to and it's safe actually only in a relatively safe to expand to is his main again.
And Bumblebee I just happened to notice him put 8 drones on 1 extractor, but he fixed it right after I said that.
Wow.
Bumblebee just playing this map out perfectly. It's a map that you can tell he's definitely planned to go Mutas on. He's executed everything flawlessly, from how many Spines he's built, where he's placed them, how he took 2 bases far away from each other. His Mutalisk count is out of control, as our observer just noted. 31 Mutalisks. Huck, I feel he's a checkmate here. It's going to be hard for him to make anything work at this point.
Well, Storm just finished. There is the possibility. I mean, basically, yeah, it's going to be up to Bumblebee to make a lot of mistakes. He has a few Templar here. If he can get some good Storms off on those Mutas, perhaps. Ooh. Oh, he saw that coming.
Does hit a few Banelings. That's the best case scenario there for Huck. Bumblebee remains twice the supply, twice the worker count. Infestation put on the way. That is going to be the nail in the coffin, I think, Moltrap.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, it would take it would take Bumblebee throwing away 30 Banelings on a Nexus here to get Huck back in the game.
But again, remember, Huck is the most patient.
Oh, no!
Oh! Those Templar, both of them, with about 1 hit point left. 2 hit points left on both of those Templar.
Oh no! The second bomb goes off. All the Templar have been defeated, and that was the only chance Huck had of getting back in this game, with some clutch Storms and some lucky miscontrol. He's trying to bring his Stalkers back, but there's a Mutalisk for every Stalker, and Huck has almost no probes left. And another bomb goes off on those Stalkers. They have no shields anymore. This is the first time I've seen Baneling landmines used against Protoss, and it is super effective.
It is super effective. The key here is Bumblebee has resources to burn. It's a great map for Baneling bombs because of the amount of choke points and ramps. No matter what, your opponent's going to walk over one of those choke points. He knows there's no robotics tech. He knows there's no observer. He absolutely just can do that, and I think this is going to be it. Mole Trap, he blinks back, but the Zerglings are not stopping. A Storm goes down, hitting a ton of Mutalisks. But will it be enough? It's hard to say. I don't think so. The Mutalisks are going to have to retreat for now.
Mutalisks are useless now.
Yeah, they have to retreat.
He actually, basically, with that one Storm, nullified the entire Mutalisk ball, because if they attack again, they will all die. They're all at orange and red health now. That was a serious error by Bumblebee to not micro those away from the Storm.
The problem is he just has so many now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it matters, but...
Yeah, I mean, he's going to want to avoid this Archon. Nice control with these Mutas. Once the Archon goes to a certain number of hit points, it's gone. Boom. 133 to 34 supply. GG.
Finally coming from Huck. Huck will fight to the very bitter end, especially in PvZ, but finally goes down.
Such a hard map for Protoss.
Yeah.
Mutalisk play on that map is almost impossible to beat. Crossfire actually, in my opinion, I've said this before, is my least favorite map in the pool right now. I think, you know, there's going to be maps out to replace it soon. We've got a lot of new maps. I mean, you guys have seen some of the new maps GSL is added. I know there are a lot more maps in design. I've seen some of them. Yep. Look forward to that. So, it's not about the build order loss or anything like that. It was about good decision making by Terius. I keep calling that Bumblebee. Good decision making by Bumblebee. And, you know, just smartly, the Baneling landmines, the Mutalisk control. It's a good map for Mutas. The Spire timing, the amount of spines he makes, taking the two bases on the top left and the bottom right. That's either way he's got a backup base. You know, everything he did was good. But Huck, man, Huck is that guy who will, against all odds, he will stand up and say, I don't care if you want Mutas. I'm going to defend. I'm going to attack at the right moments. I'm going to catch one of your bases here. I'm going to move back. Notice when he moved out with his Archon.
Pull off effective trades.
Yeah. When he moved out with his Archons, he had about 8 Mutas, a few Zealots to help buffer, and just 2 Archons in there. And those Archons do the extra DPS. That means that if Bumblebee catches that small army he's sent to kill a base, he's like, well, I don't know if I want to fight this because there's Archons in there. I don't want to get all my units damaged. So Huck just sent that small force, kept Stalkers in his main to defend the Mutas, did everything he could, but he just could not overcome the really strong build order and really strong control and decision-making from Bumblebee in that game.
And then when Huck tried to move out, he stepped all over some exploding Banelings, and oh man, that just hurt to see those. All those Templar get taken out. That was his last chance. Was those Templar trying to bait him into some really effective storms and take out the 4th again? I mean, it still would have been miraculous to pull it off from that point, but losing all those Templar was just It was.
I mean, one of many nails in the coffin. It was not just a nail in the coffin.
One of many. that was them like dumping the dirt on top of the coffin.
That was them like chiseling the tombstone.
That's right.
Well, I have some news for you guys.
What's your news?
I looked at my screen and I saw the final map. It was an interesting choice. You guys might be surprised by this. Huck has chosen Belshir Beach as the final map. So that is a little bit surprising. It means he's definitely planned a specific build for this map. And I think even Bumblebee will go, wait a minute. What do you have planned here? Historically, Mutas are quite good on this map as well. It's got a similar design, and it's not a map that Protoss has done terribly on, but Zergs have done pretty well here. It's not a map that Protoss is like. Most Protoss have complained about this map.
Yeah.
And we'll see if Huck's got something planned. I mean, sometimes you see this. Sometimes you see like a Zerg pick dual site, and you're like, maybe he's going to 2-base all in. I don't know. Trying to mess with his opponent a little bit. We'll see what Huck's got planned.
Yeah.
We've got a headset problem, so...
Oh, okay, that's what he was talking about. I remember seeing him going, like, pointing at it and talking to his coach there in between. So we have a headset problem with Bumblebee's headset. We're going to try and get that sorted out before we move into the next game.
Well, let's talk more about this map, okay? It's a map where you've got the secondary... there's no ramp. It's got a double-sized ramp at the natural. Yep. It's really a good map for Forge, Fast, Expand, but... The 3rd base location is a little bit further away. It's hard to defend against run-bys, roach aggression, things like that. So a lot of people like to go Stargate play on this map to use those Void Rays to kind of control the center of the map and stop the Zerg opponent from, doing that huge, heavy roach pressure on the 3rd base. We've seen, for example, if you go back and watch Genius's play in Code S against the Zerg on this map, you can see that Void Ray pressure and follow up with the Phoenixes. It's kind of like what I was talking about earlier with Avenge, but his didn't work out quite as well against Idra. But that type of Void Ray Phoenix play can really work out on this map. Maybe that's what Huck's got in mind. He may have some sort of one-base play in mind. Only time will tell.
Maybe he might even be... He might have something He might be thinking like, okay, I actually know I can beat that if I don't get behind. Maybe he's trying to bait the Mutalisk play so he can get a timing attack
That's
on
actually
that.
a really good point. He may be going,
He's like, you've gone Mutas twice. This is a good map for Mutas. I've got something that beats your Mutas.
Yeah. I would have expected him to pick Antigua, for example. You know, maybe Cloud Kingdom.
Yeah.
But not this map. I was a little bit surprised by this choice. Maybe even Entombed Valley. Well, actually, he played on that map already.
Yeah,
so
okay,
never
that
mind.
doesn't work.
Never mind. Okay. You got me.
You got yourself. I didn't say it.
I'm like, geez, Moltrap, well, like, would you just give me a break, man? Like, come on.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It looks like the issue's not quite yet been resolved, but we're getting an additional observer in here. And what's your opinion on Crossfire? I'd like to hear your opinion on the map. Do you think it's a fair and balanced map, or do you have any qualms with it? What are your thoughts?
Well, it's a map that will always have a special place in my heart just because of its Brood War predecessor.
What? Every time I ask this question, people say that.
I love Peaks of Baekdu, man. It was such a good Brood War
I swear,
map.
man, every time I ask that question, I'm like, what do you think about Crossfire? They're like, well, it was Shin Peaks of Baekdu. I'm like, well, okay, but like that's not what I'm asking you, man.
I like it. Let me put it this way. I think there's definitely some things that favor certain races playing certain styles, and that can make for some stompings. But I like it for the fact that it is interesting. Games on that map are always interesting.
Very true.
So as a spectator, I like it, even if it does have some imbalances. So that's what I'll say.
Well, our third map here is going to, in fact, be Belshire Beach, as we already discussed. It's the final game between Huck and Bumblebee Prime. Will our foreigner Huck advance, or will be knocked out of the GSL completely? Only time will tell. I am Wolf. With me is Moltrap. This is the GSL Hot 6 Code Season 1.